Hey guys, and welcome to this formation tutorial video. It's part of a series of tutorial videos that I'm starting to make, so it's easier to understand the game because the game itself doesn't explain a lot of things. So I decided to make some tutorial videos to make it easier for you guys. And in this video we're going to talk about formations. So in the battlefield it's pretty important to use formations and tactics to win the battle. It's not just about brute force, okay? So you can really win against superior forces if you use tactics. So in order to view all the commands, you hit the return key, okay? And you can see we have F1, which is movement, F2 facing, F3 is form, F4 is fire as well, and so on. So we're going to talk about each of them, and we'll start with the movement one. Okay, so let's click on F1, and then we got another menu that tells us what do we want to do, and we got this little battle flag that indicates where we are gonna place our army. And you can select the type of troop that you want to command by clicking the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on keys. And usually it's 1 for infantry,
Archers!
2 for archers, and 3 for
Infantry!
cavalry. But you can change that during the battle or before, and I will show you how to do that. But let's start by commanding our infantry. Okay, so the first basic movement is moving to somewhere. So you just aim where you want them to be, and you see these little flags. It's where they're gonna be at their final destination. So let's just click the left mouse button or F1,
Forward!
and they'll move to that position. All right. Next on the movement, we got follow me. Okay.
Follow me!
So your troops will follow you, obviously. Next, we got charge. So they will charge the enemy. And let's just tell them to stop here.
Forward!
Next, in the movement, you got advance. So they'll just move towards the enemy, and you can stop them. Not a really big difference between that and charge, as long as I understand. They're just moving towards the enemy, okay, which is the same as charge. Might be the difference with the formation, so we'll take a look at that in a moment. So next we got fall back, so you can tell them to get away from the enemy if you need to do some tactical retreats during the battle.
Move!
Let's get them back here. Next you got the stop, so maybe you were telling them to
Onward!
advance and then you want them to stop. You'll just click F1, F6,
Halt!
and they'll stop at their tracks. And the last one is retreat out of the battle.
Retreat!
So
Soldier!
I haven't really used that one, but you can do that maybe if you're joining another army, you're helping, and you feel like you're losing the fight and you don't want to lose all your army and get captured, so you can tell your army to retreat. So that's for the movement keys. Next we got the facing keys, sorry. So the facing keys are pretty straightforward. You got F1, F2. If you click on F2, you get to the facing keys, the facing commands. So F2 and F1 is facing the direction of your flag. So if you want them to face there, you'll click F2, F1,
Turn!
and they will turn to there. Or the other option is for them to face the enemy. So F2, F2.
Turn to enemy!
All right. So that's the one that's most commonly used. But let's say that, I don't know, you're being flanked by archers or something, and you don't want to expose your back to them. You can tell them to face the enemy in case the infantry is advancing, but it's still slow. You can face them and maybe do a shield wall, which we'll talk about in the next one. So F3 is for formations. Okay, you got the line formation, which is the default one. So they'll just stand next to each other, like you see in here. Next you got shield wall.
Make a shield wall!
So they will go tighter and hold their shields up. That's great for holding positions and defending against arrows. Next one is loose formation, so that's great.
Stand apart!
If, for example, you guys don't have shields, maybe you're archers, and you don't want the enemy archers to hit them that easily, you can tell them to stand apart. Next, you got the circle formation.
Circle formation!
And they'll just make a circle, so that's great. For example, if you are outnumbered with cav and you can't really charge them, you don't want them to hit your guys too easily, so they'll have to charge into that formation, which is much more dangerous than charging into a single unit. Okay. The next one is square. Again,
In a square!
kind of serves the same purpose. The main difference, I think, is maybe you could put your archers inside the circle, which is a little bit easier. And with a square, you just adjust the shape to wherever you are in the terrain. So depending what's the situation, you can use both. Next, you got a skein, which is like an arrow-shaped formation.
Form a skein!
So, for example, if you're charging with cav and you wanna penetrate their formation, I haven't really used that one, but you can try it out, see if it works out for you. You got column formation.
Form a column!
If you want to go through narrow places. I haven't used it again. And the last one is scatter, so they're just
Disperse!
stand wherever. It actually looks a lot like a line formation, so might not be finalized this one. So haven't used it either. I most often use the shield wall,
Form a shield wall!
which is great. I use the square, the circle formation. All of these are great. The loose formation for archers I use a lot. So, for example,
Arrow!
I want
Loose formation!
my archers to stand
Bounded!
further apart. And sometimes when you give them that command, it won't change. You need to move them around,
Move!
and then they'll change to the formation that you want. So you see they're standing much further apart, and they're actually shooting. And we're actually gonna tell them to stop shooting by hitting F4.
Hold fire!
So they're gonna take out their melee weapons, and they're gonna stop firing. So let's say that, for example, you're facing a shield wall, and it's hard to penetrate them, and you don't want to waste arrows, or you're maybe standing too far away from the enemy to really do any serious damage, and you don't want them to waste ammo because your archers have a limited amount of ammo, if you don't know. So use it wisely. So that's for F4. Next we got F5, which is ordering the cav to dismount or mount their horses. So we'll click on the cav, click on F5,
Dismount!
and they'll dismount their horses. You can do that maybe if you want to fight in rivers or sticky situations where cav are less maneuverable, and you want to use your cav in a different formation. You can even do them. You can use them as infantry.
Make a shield wall!
Make a shield wall. Let's see.
Move!
They'll stand next to each other like infantry. Alright, so sometimes that can come in useful instead of having them be on top of their cav, on top of their horses. Alright, so next we got delegate command, which is gonna turn the command over to the AI. So if I click F6,
Sergeants, take command!
the AI is gonna control this group. If I want them to stop, I'll just give them a new order,
Forward!
and they'll just stop. And they're under my command right now. Alright, and the last one, F7, actually transfers your groups. So for example, let's say that you want to form a group of pikemen and a group of infantry with shields and another group without shields. Okay, so let's say we dismounted this force of cav and we want them to join the infantry because we don't want to command two different groups. We want them to be together. So what I'll hit is 3
Infantry!
to select the cavalry, and then we'll hit F7 and we'll hit on the infantry. So this is infantry, This is range. We can do horse archers, skirmishers, heavy infantry, light cav, heavy cav. You can really change your formations around and use them more tactically. But let's say I want them to join the infantry. I'll click on the infantry. I can select how many I want them, how many of them I want to join the infantry, and then click accept, and they will join the infantry right now. So right now I have only two groups, infantry and archers, and I can change that again. So now, for example, I have a bigger force of infantry that can march together as a shield wall. Okay, and just out of curiosity, I want to see if they stick to the shield wall when they advance. So let's tell them to advance.
Move to enemy!
And they'll stay with their shield wall. That's great.
Infantry, move!
Let's tell them to charge. I think they'll still keep their shield wall even when they're charging, so that might be the difference.
Give them hell!
Yeah, they're keeping their shield wall, so no big difference between advance and charge. But yeah, this was a tutorial of formations. I hope it was helpful to you. And really, formations can save you a lot of battles. Even if you're outnumbered 2-1, you could win with tactics. Okay, so for example, holding a hill, having your infantry in a shield wall at the bottom, your archers on top, that can really make a difference in a battle. Yeah, I hope you liked this tutorial. If you did, then give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more videos, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye, guys.